All right, so this is lesson number 14. We are still in factoring. This is the second part, and this is when your A value is greater than 1. So when your A value was 1, you didn't have to worry about this A times C on the top of your X, but now we do. And so instead of X method, which is what we did in part 1, we're using something that would be like a star method now. So you have to have your A, B, and C are numbers, and your A times C now, since A isn't 1 anymore, is what goes on top. Your B is what goes on bottom. So the only difference from X method to the star method is that you're multiplying A and C for the top. Now, you're going to do everything the same, like ignore this for a second. You'd ask yourself what multiplies to be the top and adds to be the bottom, and get these two numbers. And then the new star part, like where I added in this, is your A value goes up here, okay? And then what we're going to do to get the factored form is simplify this fraction, if it can be. Like if it's 2 over 4, you should make that 1/2. If it's 2 over 3, it would stay 2 over 3. Okay, and then your factored form looks like this. So you take whatever number this is, add an x to it, plus or minus depending on whatever m is, m. And then same thing here, a x plus or minus n. So let's just get straight to the examples because I know it looks a little confusing at first. Okay, so they want us to factor this. It does not have an A equal to 1 anymore, so that's why we're using the star method. So when you set this up, you can start with the X method and add the star in later if you'd like. It's totally up to you. 12 times -2, we've got -24 on top now, and then the -5 goes on bottom. So what multiplies to be -24 and adds to be -5? You've got choices, right? You've got 2 and 12. That's not going to work. 4 and 6. That's not going to work. 8 and 3. That should work. So 8, 3. We want this to be negative, so we'll make that one negative, and that should work. I'm going to add in that extra part for the star, which is, remember, our A value goes on top. So 12 goes here and here. Okay, so that's basically your step 1. Your step 2 is to simplify the two fraction parts. So this part and this part. Okay, so 12 over 8 or -8. We can simplify that. We can divide both by 4. So this will be 3 over -2. And then the 12 over 3, divide both of those by 3. So this is 4 over 1. Okay, writing it in factored form is our third step here. So we take the fraction, the top gets the x, and then plus or minus whatever's on the bottom. So this fraction would be 3x for the top, and then -2. And then here, 4 is on top, so that gets the x, and then +1. So my factored form of this, factored form, is these two multiplied together. Okay, and the cool thing about factoring is that you can multiply this together again, and you should get what you started with. So you should be able to go back and forth and get the same answer no matter what. We can do that real fast just to check. So check to see that you got it correct, right? So I'm doing the box method, 3x, -2, 4x, and +1. So that's going to be 12x squared. This one's going to be 3x. This one's going to be -8x. And that one's going to be -2. So 12x squared, these two added together is going to be 5 or -5x. Hold on. Oh, of course, just ran out. Oh, perfect. Perfect amount. Okay, minus 5x and then minus 2. So you see that is the same thing that we started with. So we're good to go. You don't need to do that all the time. I just wanted to show you that that is a way to check that you got the correct answer. Okay. Do one more. All right, so we've got our A and our C multiplied together. So on top will be negative 60. 5 times negative 12 is negative 60. On the bottom is going to be our 4. So we want to ask ourselves what multiplies to be negative 60 and adds to be 4. So you've got 20 and 3, 30 and 2, 5 and 12, 10 and 6. So you have a bunch of choices, but we need this to be a 4. So I think 10 and 6 will work. Negative, and this needs to be positive. So we want the bigger number to be positive. So this will be negative. Then we're going to add in that star part to put the A on top. Remember, we're following this, so we got to put the A on top. Okay, so our A is 5, so we put 5 here, and we'll put 5 here. That's step 1. Step 2, simplify those parts. Remember, simplify the fraction parts. Okay, so 5 over 2. You can start doing this in your head if you want. So this is going to be, and I like to write it right next to it, 1 over 2. And this one can't simplify. That one just stays 5 over negative 6. Okay, so our third step is to put it in factored form. The top, it goes next to x with the bottom, and top next to x plus or minus the bottom. So here, since there's a 1, you can write just x, or you can write 1x, that's your choice, plus 2. So that's the factored form for this one right here. And then for this one, that's 5x. The top always gets the x. And then minus 6, whatever's the bottom comes next. So that is your answer. You can check it if you want by doing the box method. But that's it. You just have 3 steps. First step, multiplying A times C on both of these. That goes on the top. The B goes on the bottom. Asking yourself what multiplies to be the top, adds to be the bottom. And then put your A value on top, simplify those. That's step 2. And then once you have the simplified version, step 3 is putting it into factored form, which is your top next to X and then your bottom. So if you're looking up here again, this is basically step 1. Simplify, that's your step 2. And then factored form is your step 3.